Welcome to the Flathead Home Show. I'm Leah Lindsay.
And I'm Justin Meccia.
And we want to thank you for joining us today. Of course, the Flathead Home Show, where we talk about real estate right here in the Flathead, what our market looks like. And it's brought to you every single week by Brian Murphy, Nikki Marengo at ReMax Rocky Mountain Real Estate. Of course, the collection edition, right?
That's correct.
And then NuWest Builders and Eric Payne. And we've got both of our sponsors, main sponsors, right back in the studio this week.
Yeah.
Because we're going to talk about what?
You know what, Leah? I had a question. If you were to buy a house, would you buy it or build it?
I bet these two can tell us.
That's right. That's why we're bringing the professionals in, right? So that's right. We're going to talk about purchasing a home, resale, or building one brand new, pros and cons, or the highs and lows. And I'm excited for it.
Yeah, but when it's time to decide to put down roots and you're trying to find your dream home, I know that we're a little conversation off mic right before we started, and some interesting things about the Flathead and whether you should buy it or build it right now. I don't know. Brian, why don't you give us your take as a real estate professional?
Right now, we're starting to see a lack of inventory. We're starting to have an influx of people wanting to move to the valley, and we need homes. And we have a price point for everyone, but we're limited on that first home buyer's product. I think we're starting to see a lot of young couples wanting to get out of the renting market and get into owning a home and having some equity, moving forward. So that $250 to $350 price point, it's hard to find them a home. And I think that for the first time in a long time, we can say you can afford to build for what's out there. And we have some fine builders such as, NuWest that can, meet those needs. Now on the higher end homes, of course it's nice to be able to put your own needs and wants in a home, build your dream. But that first-time home buyer is going to be a little bit more limited, and they need to be a little more practical. And I think there's an opportunity for them to build something that they want and be able to build it at a price point they can afford.
Brian, I'm not an economics major, but I do listen to bpodcast.com. How about that plug?
That's awesome.
And I suspect that when inventory is low, prices drive up.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. So is this
supply and demand?
That's basic supply and demand. Yeah. Now, if that's the case, then is that when typically we just start to ask, well, gosh, what's it going to take to just build a home? Is that when that option becomes more viable? Is that when people tend to look that way?
Well, I think it's the balance of looking what's available.
Okay.
And is what you're looking for out there, or maybe I prefer to live on a little larger piece of ground, or maybe I would be very comfortable on a 1 acre lot or half acre lot, but there's not a home available. So there you have to kind of weigh out your options, and that's a great time to discuss.
Enter Eric Payne and NuWest Builders.
Yes.
Right?
Drum roll, right?
I mean, that's where you come right in, because here's this piece of property and somebody has a dream and they can't afford to buy the little tiny options that are out there, right?
Right. Well, with those being said, the price is right now, if it's priced at fair market value, appraised value, it's selling.
Yeah. Almost overnight, right? Yeah. So just numerically speaking, what kind of prices are we talking about here? What's an average sale price that we are seeing just fly off the shelf right here in the Flathead?
The $250 to $350, meaning $250,000 to $350,000, is a tough market share to find.
Just limited inventory, high demand for it, so it's gone overnight.
And it's not an easy product to be built, but it can be built. There again, if you want all the bells and whistles, you're going to be looking at additional dollars. And nobody can explain that better than my guest.
Than another guest here.
Right.
Yeah, so segue Eric Payne, right?
Well, I think if you look in those numbers valley-wide, but if you take in peel off whitefish, that number probably goes to 600,000.
Oh, without
so then that really changes things, because the inventory is even lower in whitefish. So now people are looking at $500,000 plus homes that somebody designed for themselves. And now they're thinking, well, if I'm going to spend $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 plus, I'm going to design a home I want instead of buying someone else's dream home. I'll build my own and not have to remodel another home.
Right.
So, and I tell people, all the time, remodel costs are always going to be higher than new construction costs. So if you get into a $500,000 home and you got to change a bunch of stuff, and now you're at $700,000, you really typically should be now looking at building your own.
Right.
So really, starting from the beginning, from scratch, building your own can really be the most affordable way to do everything.
I think so, in this market, like Brian touched on, inventory is the driving factor, across the whole valley. So it's relative, either in Kalispell, the average home price being $285 or whatever it is versus Whitefish is $500 or $600. Yeah, it's just pretty relative. There's just not much out there to buy.
There's not a lot.
Now you're going to pay more to buy something existing than you would have just a year ago, dramatically higher.
Right.
So now it pays to look at building and comparing.
Definitely to factor in. You touched on cost of remodel versus cost of new construction, and I am a true testimony to that. Remodeling my house now for quite some time.
Well, yeah, you've done multiple homes.
And it is far more expensive than even I imagine, Tear down the wall and you find out, oh man, I've got to fix this now too.
Right.
So
A surprise in the box.
that's a surprise in the box. You're right.
That could be a whole other twist on the buy it or build it show. Buy
Right.
it, build it, or fix it.
Yeah.
You know,
Or tear it down.
or tear it down. And there's definitely some of those properties out there as well. I just keep thinking about, like, let's say 2008. 2007, 2008, we had just this abundance of inventory, right? There were a lot of spec homes on the market, right?
Yeah, they were saying we had a 10-year inventory. We went through it rather quickly.
That's amazing. I mean, if you look back on that time, and of course the economy kind of tanked, but here we are coming back, and we're just like, we need Eric to build more homes.
Well, back in 07, 08, it was like I told everyone, do not build. As much as we don't want to build for you, there's no way we can compete with what's being sold out there, 50 cents on the dollar.
Right.
So everyone was buying everything up. But like he said, there's the inventory, and they said 10-year inventory. Well, we're at 10 years now since that all happened, and that isn't taking place anymore. Market changes.
Yeah, isn't that an interesting shift of everything? And I know what an impact to the economy it has when a builder builds one home.
Right.
So when an entire subdivision gets built,
Right.
the power and the way that affects your local economy is so huge. So there's another reason to really go, build it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
This whole valley's economy is really not. I mean, we have a lot of industry here too, but it's very controlled by the construction industry.
I think the construction industry is probably one of the biggest factors in the country.
It
for
has
sure.
to be, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're always saying, with the amount of homes that are being sought, where are these people all going to work? Well, a lot of them work at home, and a lot of them work in different places of the country but live here. So just because we don't have huge manufacturing plants, we have some very large employers, Applied. There's numerous of them that employ a lot of people, great jobs, a lot of professionals, but there's a lot of people that work from home and travel, during the week, and it's worth the sacrifice to live here in this valley.
Sure.
Absolutely. Pretty fascinating topic, but we do have to take a little bit of a break. But
Just a quick one, though, right? Because I want to get right back. We're
Super speedy.
We're talking buy it or build it, and we've got Brian and Eric in the studio. This is fascinating. Learning a lot today.
Flathead Home Show. We'll be right back.
Ken at Escape Now Spas understands the power of escaping to a world of peace and relaxation. He's using his 22 years of pool and spa repair expertise to bring high-quality American-made spas to the Flathead Valley. Mention this ad and receive $1,000 off Platinum Series spas, $750 off Escape Plus Series, $500 off Escape Series, and $250 off Patio Series spas. Escape Now Spas also offers pool and spa chemicals. Visit Ken at the Mountain Mall in Whitefish for your new spa today.
Are you planning on building your dream home or maybe renovating your current one? As a Flathead Parade of Homes multiple-time award winner, Eric Payne with NuWest Builders will bring your vision to life. An experienced contractor, NuWest Builders partners with you from design to site prep through construction and completion, exceeding your expectations every step of the way at a drastically more affordable rate than you ever thought possible. Find out more online, NuWestBuilders.com. NuWest Builders, the luxury high-end custom home builder. Luxury as defined by design, not by cost.
When people have a flood or fire, they worry that the repair cost will be more than their insurance company will approve. No worries with Stat Restoration. We use the same estimating software and pricing as the insurance companies. Plus, we work directly with your adjuster, so you don't have to. Take your worry out of that flood or fire. Call Stat Restoration. We are your masters of disaster.
We're back with the Flathead Home Show. Thanks for joining us today with a pretty fascinating topic.
Buy it or build it.
And of course, it's brought to you every single week by Brian Murphy, Nikki Marengo, ReMax, Rocky Mountain Real Estate, Eric Payne from NuWest Builders. And you know what? We've got Brian and Eric on the show today.
In the studio, live.
And we're having some fun going back and forth between a realtor and a builder to talk, what should we do in the Flathead? Buy it or build it?
Mm-hmm.
You know what's interesting to me? Like, what would you say average cost per square foot to purchase? Brian.
One of the things that need to be looked at there is the price on a listing on a price per square foot is also including the land. It's not just the house. So you're looking at a $300, $425 per square foot price. That's including the land, whether it's a 5, 10 acre or a 1 acre lot. If you break it out, the value of the land and the price per square foot of the home, then you can start comparing, apples and oranges.
Gotcha.
But it's a big misconception, and that's what needs to be explained to that buyer, that, that price includes the land and everything that's involved, from
now,
your
when we're
septic to your-
building, though, is it the same thing?
It's not at all. So, the magic number everybody always calls, what's your price per square foot? Like, there's no way for us to give a number like that out because everyone has different tastes.
Right.
So it all depends upon basically what you want, and just show us a set of plans and your finish level will tell you that. But on an average, I would say, primarily on the stuff that we're building starts at probably $200 a square foot.
Custom home.
Yeah, custom homes. I'd say you can still buy homes in the valley every bit of $130 to $150 a square foot. That's just not our specialty, but there's great builders out there that are building that kind of home. But $200 a square foot is probably a pretty good price. But then you look at a land cost, which have elevated in the last year.
And when you're doing a new construction, you buy the land first, and then your cost per square foot on the house,
And
right?
utilities and soft costs with architects, all those things factor into that.
Much like Brian is saying with the real estate, when you're looking at the overall cost per square foot of a property, all of those things are factors.
That's actually probably a better term for it, Leah. When you're looking at a listing, the overall cost per square foot, which would include the improvements to the land and maybe the adjacent amenities, if it perhaps is in a community. When you're looking at resale, when you're looking at building, your cost per square foot is your physical house.
Right. So real easy for us to break it all out because we're going to budget. But, a good realtor like Brian looking out for you would be, here's what your land is worth. Here's what your house is worth. You got to break the two out because it's totally unfair to try to compare the two.
And you just can't go out and buy a piece of dirt and then call Eric up and said, build. I mean, there's excavation. There's whether you can hook up to the sewer. Whether
Don't you do all of those things, Brian?
Full service.
That's what realtors did.
Yeah. We've got this lovely lot on a slope, overlooking the valley that's going to take an engineer to design this, pad, for you to build on. I mean, there's a lot of things that go on in the building world besides just building a home. I mean, that prep cost can be extremely expensive. And if that ground's not flat and stable and great soil compact and the ground can perk, there's a lot of things that go into consideration. We have a lot of septic tanks here in the valley because we don't have sewer everywhere. And we have a lot of people that live outside of
incorporated cities.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so those are additional costs that all get factored into that price per square foot that Eric's got to give them when they walk in the door.
Right, when they call on the phone, how much do you build this for?
It's complicated, but not that complicated. Just, you got to spend a little time and do your investigation, make sure you're working with a realtor that can explain all those things for you before you go buying a lot. And then get some preliminary numbers, but it's not that difficult. And it's a lot of fun to go and work on all that stuff and compare the two. It's one of the funnest parts of the whole process.
And we are blessed with a lot of great tradesmen here. They moved here for the same reason we have.
Sure.
It's a beautiful place to live, and they're talented.
Mm-hmm.
It just
Absolutely.
don't build a home at the beginning of the
November.
Right.
Or the hunting season. Boom. That's awesome.
Or summer. So
Yeah. Yeah. So nobody's working.
You got
They're really
April, May.
skilled, but everybody's playing.
So we've got this narrow window of opportunity to get the house built.
4
Is that what I'm
months a
hearing?
year.
Yeah.
How fast can you build a home? Go.
There's a question that gets asked every day.
Yes. So
I'd say, an average home, is probably running 6-7 months now for just an average home. Nice, semi-custom. As soon as you start getting into more custom finishes, when the demand of our tradespeople are high like they are now, it's a year. I mean, you should plan a year from start to finish for
gotcha.
sure.
Eric, can you build a home 12 months out of the year?
We do. I mean, we don't slow down at all during the winter. It's painful at times, but we have to keep going all winter.
Wow.
How about when it's like 10 below? I mean, there's got to be a cut off.
Right.
There's got to be like a week out of the year that you kind of
There's probably a week, yeah.
you're like, okay, guys, stay inside.
That's
There might
enough.
have been more than 1 week this
Yeah.
winter. But
Let's go.
you hope you have plenty of inside work at that point and not
Right.
outside work.
Yeah. Kitchen finishes and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it's always cool to watch the masons and watch them out there
Right.
in the tents and, go in there when it's freezing outside and you walk inside the tent and you're like, oh,
I think it's phenomenal that we've found a way, or they have found a way to pour concrete in this cold weather. Break the ground and still go. I mean, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing to watch. It's enjoyable.
Well, a good rule of thumb is if the generator won't start, neither will I.
Yeah.
That is a good one.
That reminds me of a flight I took to. I think I was going to Philly. Got on the plane. It was so cold, and the pilot said that he couldn't start the engine. He was going outside with a broom handle and getting try
On your airplane.
Yes.
That is never a good thing.
Don't worry. We've got this backup broom.
And then it,
I don't know how I feel about
started,
that.
and we all stayed on the plane and went. What were we thinking? Anyway, so yeah, the things that you'll do when it's cold outside, and I think this is a fascinating topic of conversation. I just really see this as a whole new, almost like HGTV's Love It or List It, where you got two different sides.
Buy it or build it.
Wouldn't it be fun to go out and go to different homes and talk about your plans for building and have Brian show you something within the same budget and see what the choices would be? What do you guys think?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. One of the hard things, too, is somebody gets excited. They decide, you know what, we want to move. We'd like to look into either downsizing, or we want to possibly, just have a change. Well, we have to make sure that change will meet their needs, because sometimes it's what they're living in might not be able to be accomplished, unless they have looked it all over. I mean, there's a lot of opportunity, and it's a great time to do it because prices will just continue to go up. It's not just supply and demand driving the price. I mean, there's cost of timber, the cost of steel. Who knows where everything, aluminum,
Right, because I've heard a lot about after the hurricane and fire season this last year, how materials just skyrocketed.
Did we see a spike in material
then you
costs?
get the tariffs, on both softwoods and steel and aluminum now for imports, and we're absolutely seeing an effect upon those pricing. But I tell all my clients, I see no issue with it whatsoever because it's putting men back to work here. So, but it is having a definite effect upon our construction prices. Like a lot of stuff, it's going up 25-30%. So when you take a big budget line item in a house construction budget of wood costs for construction,
right,
and it goes up 25%, that's a substantial increase.
That's a gulp.
That we all have to absorb.
That's a huge gulp.
Right.
Yeah, it's super fascinating. Buy it or build it. We're going to have to bring this back and do this again. We're out of time. Are we buying it or are we building it in the Flathead right now?
I'm selling it.
You're selling it.
I'm building it.
You're building it.
Nice.
Okay.
That's excellent.
Yes. And if you've got any questions about either, please just give Brian Murphy and Nikki Marengo a call at ReMax, Rocky Mountain Real Estate, or Eric Payne and NuWest Builders. And of course, we have some other great sponsors as well.
That's right. Escape Now Spas up in the Mountain Mall in Whitefish.
Stat Restoration and Murphy's Carpet Cleaning.
That's right. Thank you.
Thank
So
you.
I like it. Brian's selling it. Eric's building it, and we're talking about it.
That's right.
Yeah.
We got it covered.
Got it
It's
covered.
the Flathead Home Show. Welcome home.